Google Drive, the heart of it all. If you open a new tab, where can you access it? Well, many people default to their waffle. That's a nice place for everything to be kept. If you clipped it or pinned it to your shelf, I should say, you can open Drive from here. Or if you created daily tabs, or if you saved it to your bookmarks bar, wherever you access it, let's get to Google Drive. Now, just like any other way of saving all of your files, you have the ability to make these folders. And sometimes you can just save documents without putting them in folders. This we already know. It's quite easy to make a folder. You can make random folders. You can make folders. There's a lot of different ways to organize. Some of you might have taken John Marr's Digital Zen class. I did not, unfortunately, but I know that there's a couple of different ways. For me personally, I do titles because I like things alphabetical. There are people who like things numerically. So when you want to label a folder, you could put a number in front of it and then the number before the title. This way, if you work with numbers, that would be easier for you. For me, I like titles, I like names. So to make a new folder, you would simply right click in any empty space here and you would put a new folder. Obviously, you see it gives you a bunch of options here. I'd like to go through all these options, highlighting again the various ways to do the same thing, and whichever clicks with you, that's what you should do. So if I wanted to create a new folder, all I do is click new folder and it comes up with a title. And again, I can name it whatever I'd like. One of the fun things that someone had taught me is that you can click on a folder and it shows all the options of what you could do with the folder. You can do any one of these things, but one of them is change the color. So these are the preset colors that they have. And if you are a color person as well, if you want to put them in Roy G. Biv order, that is completely up to you. Now you'll notice some of these folders are blank folders and some of these folders have a little person. The person means that you've shared the folder with someone. So I have shared some of these folders with my colleagues, and we have shared documents in those folders. So I know that there's different hands in the pot, so to say. These are completely mine, but these are shared with other people. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you is if you are a visual person and you like to see the screenshots, so to say, the thumbnails of your docs and so forth, you would keep it in this view. If you want to change, if you are a list person, and you would keep everything in this order thusly. So again, this little icon right here toggles back and forth between grid view and list view. Now, let's say in my main drive, I have a couple of apps, a couple of docs, I should say, that I want to move to a folder. So typically what some people would do is they would click on one, drag it to a folder, and let it go. Now, there's different ways to do things. Instead of doing that one at a time, you can most certainly do that. It might just be time consuming. One of the things you could do is select more than one. Now, let's say this whole row here, I want this whole row to go into my room 123 folder. So what I would do is I could select this, but then how do I get all of these selected at the same time? There's two ways to do it. I can hit the first one so it turns blue. I can click control, hold down the control button, and I can click all of these. See how they're all getting the blue square? I can click them. So right now they're all selected. Now let's say I wanted more, but maybe they're not in order. I'm going to still hold that control button and I'm going to randomly click the ones that I want so then I can click and choose what I need. Then at that time, I would simply click on one of the ones that are highlighted, and I would drag it to the folder that I need to. Now, what if I know from the apps that I have or the docs I have, what if I know I want this one to this one? Am I really going to sit here, click the control button, and click, 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 click all the way to the end? No, I'm going to want to do something a little more time friendly. I'm going to click on the first one, and they're red across. I'm going to, before I click on the last doc that I want, I'm going to click the shift button. When I click shift and click the mouse, it highlights all the ones from the beginning to the end. So again, just to recap, using control, I get to click and select what I want. Using the shift button, it gives me the beginning through the end one that I choose. Okay, so that's very helpful as well. The next thing I want to show you is, let's say you're ready you're ready to create something. Let's create a simple doc. There's a couple of ways of going about that. If I just want the doc stored in my Google Drive and not in a folder, I can right click right here and I can choose Google Doc. Or I can go right here and choose Google Doc. Or if I know what folder I want it to go into, I can click a folder. Let's say I can click Spanish, and then I can click 6th grade, and then I would click beginner conversation. I want a new doc in here. So that means I go to my folder, I right click, I can choose Google Doc, or I can go over here and choose Doc. Doing it on the front end, I don't have to just go to Google Docs and then worrying about saving it. But that's fine if you do that, because that's what works for you. By the way, before I show you that, I want you to know that all of these titles up here are clickable. So let's say, oh, I didn't mean to go to the beginner conversation. I wanted to go to the other folder. I can just simply click on the titles, the file titles, and it'll take me back to that folder.